So you're thinking about moving to San Diego, maybe North County, San Diego? Well, today we're gonna get into some things you might need to know. You know, not the typical things. Obviously, it costs a lot to live here, so we're not gonna talk about that much. Obviously, the weather's beautiful. We're not gonna get into that. There might be one point in there about the weather, but other than that, we're gonna get into a bunch of stuff that we as locals have known growing up here and just kind of living here our whole life. So some real insider stuff here, so stay tuned. Let's jump into it right now. Howdy, howdy, I'm Chris Erickson.
And I'm Cassidy Lewis.
And we are real estate agents here in North County, San Diego, and this is where you come for all things North County. We're dropping new videos every single week, neighborhoods, things to do. Today, a little bit of interesting stuff around town, but everything in between as well. So if this is your first time to the channel, be sure to hit the button right down there. We drop new videos every single week. If you want to learn everything and anything there is to know about North County, San Diego, be sure to hit that button. If you guys are thinking about moving out here, you gotta hit us up. Call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. We love helping people get their move on, get out here to North County, San Diego. So be sure to pick up the phone, shoot us a text, type a little email in. We got you covered when moving here to San Diego.
Today we're gonna get into some interesting tips and things to know about living here in San Diego. Some things you don't really think about. Sports, can you play all year? Maybe. Depends where you're coming from. Like some of the things that you don't really think about. The terrain here in San Diego is a little bit wilder than other places in the country or out of the country. And then also we're gonna get into some of, if you look at a map and you're looking at some of the towns and how you're wondering how you pronounce some of those names, stay tuned to the end and we're gonna tell you the tips of how to pronounce some of those odd names in San Diego.
So when you think about San Diego, the first thing that comes to mind is farmland, right? Well, not really, but especially here in North County. So if you've been to downtown San Diego, that's where you're flying into. You know, it's kind of that urban feel, a lot of those high rises and stuff. I mean, it's a smaller downtown, but as you spread out and you go east and you go north, like I said, right here in North County, there is a ton of farmland, which equates to, you know, a lot of the locals farmers market. So right here in Leucadia, every Sunday, we have a farmers market. All the local farmers come out. There's some fresh food. They're doing really good over there. Also, there's one in San Marcos. There's a big one up in the village of Carlsbad. So all local food, even cruising through Carlsbad, which is one of the bigger cities up here, there are huge swaths of land that are still farmland right up here in the middle of North County.
And you'll see that there's some new developments that are going in right where farmland used to be. Even like in Encinitas, there's a lot of spots where you see the newer developments, and those used to be growing grounds for flowers and fruits and all that stuff. Encinitas was really, really well known for growing plants, including the poinsettia. We're starting to see a lot of that farmland kind of go away and a little bit more of it pushing up toward the north and out to the east.
And even at some people's houses, they kind of turned them into their own little farms. My brother's actually over in Vista. They have chickens out there. He's got his own little farm. It's a garden, but you know, he's got tomatoes and lettuce and peppers and all kinds of stuff out there. So there is a lot of that stuff out there. My aunt has chickens. My little guy's daycare, they have chickens running around there. So fresh eggs all the time. So you will see that, like a lot of these communities and stuff, they do allow for chickens and some livestock, depending on where you are.
So what they call that type of farming on your own property is hobby farming. Since you're not doing it for profit, it's your hobby. And we see a lot of it. We see a lot of folks that have goats and pigs and all sorts of other creatures too. Just get with us to check and see what you're allowed to have on your property, because it does change from area to area, even within cities. And then one of the other things that North County is really, really well known for, and San Diego as a whole actually, is avocados. So we have a buddy that has a huge avocado grove in San Marcos. There are a ton of them. One of the biggest growers in the country is up in like on the edge of Oceanside and Fallbrook. So there are a ton of avocados here. Fallbrook even has an avocado festival every year. So if you don't like avocados yet, start learning how to like them, because it is everywhere here. Guac is on everything, so get ready. And also, one last thing on farming, there is a huge strawberry field up in Carlsbad, right off Cannon, where you can pick your own strawberries. They also have a little stand. If you don't want to pick them, you could just buy them there too, but fresh strawberries right in the heart of Carlsbad. Since we're not talking just directly about weather, we're going to get into one of the things that we get to do a ton because of our great weather, which is sports. We have sports year-round here. Our kids play baseball in the spring and the fall.
My niece plays softball, and there's a ton of that travel ball around year-round, so it seems like every single weekend she's got a tournament, going to all these little desert towns out, within an hour and a half drive, sometimes out to Havasu, but just kind of all over down here, basically year-round. It seems, like I said, like it's nonstop.
And you don't have to worry about playing baseball practice indoors like you do in some other parts of the country. It's always nice here. Even when you get those rainy days, it still dries up super quick. And then also one of the other great things here is all of our great golf courses here in San Diego, and we get to play year round. So we just had a buddy post the other day that his golf course was opening back up in Washington. We don't have to worry about that. They're always open here. We don't have to worry about closures. So if you're a golfer, you can do it every single day of the year, unless it's raining.
Well, we're actually going out today, so.
Yeah.
One of the other main sports, if you will, I don't know if it's a sport or activity, but surfing year-round. The water is cold for the most part. It's not tropical here. I'm wearing a 3-2 wetsuit. That's like the thickness of the wetsuit, basically year-round. Through the summer, you're gonna have a few times when it does warm up. It's like nice out, it's a beautiful day out. You hop in and it's like maybe mid-70s as it kind of tops out for 3 weeks in the summer sometimes, but enjoy those times because for the most part of the year, it's gonna be super cold. I mean, relative, like
super
winter,
cold.
super cold. Like winter, it gets into like the mid to low 50s, and then even during the summer, you're like mid to high 60s. So it's a chilly ocean. It's not Hawaii. So one other thing about living here in Southern California is water, or the lack thereof. We import in San Diego a huge percentage of our water coming from like Colorado, coming from the mountains up to the north. They get it a lot of different ways. They actually did just build a desalination plant here in Carlsbad that will be feeding some of the communities around here. But there does come times during droughts where there's water restrictions. I remember one a few years ago where like we had to limit, the amount of showers we take. There's nothing like mandatory, but it is, it is mandatory in some spots. Like you can't water your lawn at certain times. You can't wash your car at certain times. All that kind of stuff did happen. So it happens every, handful of years where they do put these water restrictions in, but just something to think about if you're coming from a place where you don't have to worry about water. And the tap water, some people have come from other places too. They don't like the taste of it. So I don't know. I drink it all the time, but some people are not fans of it.
And if you think about it, San Diego used to be a desert. So that, the reason we have beautiful landscaping and palm trees is because of people, not because of and the weather. But that's the reason we don't have a ton of water here, is there didn't used to be a lot of water. So depending on where you're coming from, if you're thinking about hills, if you haven't seen hills or mountains, we've got a ton of them. A ton of the communities that we talk about are named after hills: San Elijo Hills, Santa Fe Hills. So if you're a cyclist or a runner, just get ready. It's gonna be like this in a lot of places.
And right within San Diego County too, there's desert. So if you like those desert activities, you got a dune buggy or anything like that, it's a quick hop, skip, and a jump right out to the desert. You can cruise out there. It cruise a little farther too, out of San Diego County. There's plenty just surrounding it.
Southern California is unique where you can get from the surf to snowboarding or skiing in an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours, depending on where you want to go. And then even up into Northern California, there's a ton of different options too. So you can surf and snowboard in the same day if you feel like it.
So if you've seen any of our other videos or you're into beer, you obviously know San Diego is huge for microbrews, craft brews. We have over 100, maybe 150, kind of fluctuates. But there's obviously a ton of great beer around here. But if you didn't know, there's also a lot of great wine around here. So just to the north, Temecula is well known for a pretty big wine region down here in Southern California. There's like 30 plus wineries out there. Take some tour buses. We've done a few party buses from San Diego. You take it up to 15 and you go cruise through a few different wineries out in Temecula, and then a lot of them are beautiful. You're just drinking wine out on these huge lawns, some live music going on. So that's right there. Actually down south in Mexico, I've had some friends go down to Valle de Guadalupe, and it's a really big wine region, probably about 2 hours from North County here. So you would have to go through Mexico. So if you're going down there, bring your passport because those are required now. But it's, from what I've seen, I've seen pictures and stuff. I haven't been myself, but beautiful wine country down there, not too far away as well. You can make a little kind of weekend getaway, if you will, going down there. And then within North County, there's also a few other like winery options, like right here in North County. Escondido has a few. Right to the east, San Marcos has a winery there. There's a little kind of city slash, you know, kind of right in the middle of Lucadia winery called Solterra, where they're making wine right on the coast highway right there. So obviously they're not growing their grapes right there. But so there's a ton of wine options right here in San Diego County.
And one of the up and coming things here in San Diego, there's a few distilleries here in North County. Henneberry is one that we've been to and chatted with the people there. And they're a little bit different as they're a club. They're not like, you can't just walk in anytime, you have to sign up to be able to go in. You can go do tastings, but it's very limited on how much you can taste. Pacific Coast Distillery is right on the Coast Highway in Oceanside and kind of a new spot down there. So definitely options if you're not into beer or wine. And since seltzers are the new hot thing too, San Diego's definitely gotten into that too. Some of the local breweries have done it, like Belch and Beaver and Vista. And then there's also another bigger company called Ashland that has some great local seltzers. So one of the other things that you might already know, San Diego is really, really well known for their Mexican food. And obviously it's different from other regions. It's different than it is in Texas. It's different than it is in New Mexico. It's different than it is even if you go a little bit further north into LA and the Bay Area. So we are known for our Mexican food here in San Diego. One of the meals that originated here in San Diego is the California burrito. If you haven't had one, you gotta check it out. If you throw French fries in anything, it's gonna be delicious. So definitely check out the California burrito if you come out this way.
I'm not a fan of the California burrito, but I would definitely still give it a try if it's your first time. You gotta give it a try. You're in California, so give it a whirl.
And there's a ton of options. Obviously, there's really nice sit-down Mexican restaurants here in San Diego, but there's a million taco shops. So you kind of just have to find yours, find the one that you like the most. For us, I know Chris and I, it's all about the salsa. If you've got good salsa, we're a fan.
And so if you have been looking around, you're looking in San Diego, obviously. All the cities that we talk about on all these videos are within San Diego. You know, Carlsbad, Encinitas, Oceanside, Vista, San Marcos, everywhere here, but every city is going to have their own distinct little vibe. And just even as far as like if you're trying to build something within the city or, you know, remodel or add an extra structure onto your property, every city is going to be different. You know, even the difference between like a house in Carlsbad and a house in Encinitas, like the same square footage, the same style house, it's going to be like a premium in Encinitas, like $100 grand. Just every different city has their own little restrictions. Even like, so back to the brewing stuff, Encinitas does not have any breweries here. We have tasting rooms. We obviously have, you know, they serve beer and stuff in bars. There's Modern Times, there's Culture, there's a little brewer's tap room that we always talk about, but the bulk of, you know, North County breweries and stuff is going to be in Vista. There's a handful in Carlsbad, Oceanside, but you won't find any here in Encinitas. So it just comes down to kind of the strictness of the cities and how they're running them. But every little city is going to have their own unique little flavor and little vibe.
And I know we mentioned we weren't going to talk about weather, but everything ends up being about weather here in San Diego since it is so great. But one thing to think about is, especially during the winter, it does get chilly at night. It drops down into the 40s. So it does get down pretty chilly in the evenings in the winter, and every now and then sometimes it just randomly gets a little bit cold. So don't get rid of all your coats, just most of them.
One other thing you're gonna see, you won't see many of us. We're locals, born and raised right here in San Diego. He was Encinitas. I was raised in San Marcos. I was born in Oceanside. But anyways, there is a ton of people who have come here from everywhere. And when you meet a local, you're like, oh, you're a local too? When we meet other locals, it's just kind of funny running into, because it seems like everybody is from somewhere else out here.
You can really tell that there's a lot of transplants and people that have moved out this way when you go down to Petco and the seats are filled with Dodger fans and Cubs fans and Boston fans and Yankee fans, because a lot of people have moved from different places to San Diego. One thing that we don't think about much anymore, because we're just used to it and we've been here our whole lives, is every now and then you're gonna hear some booming noises. San Diego is a huge military town. There's Marine bases in a couple different spots. There's a Navy base down by downtown. and on Coronado. So there's definitely a lot of military here. So when they're doing training, when they're doing testing, when they're doing war game type things, you will hear some booming. So most of it originates in Camp Pendleton, which is up to the very north, just north of Oceanside. So you will hear a little bit of that noise from time to time. They're really good about putting it on their website if you're curious what it is, or when it's gonna be and all that. It is on there. And also you will get some military planes and helicopters flying by. Just the other day we were working on our podcast, and an Osprey, which is a really cool plane, Google it if you don't know what it is, flew over, and it was super low and super loud, but really cool to see. As soon as you're down here, it might be a little bit shocking, but you just get used to it, and it's not a big deal.
Throughout North County, a lot of these hikes we've talked about in past videos and stuff are located kind of within, you know, the suburban districts, like right off track neighborhoods and right off like little neighborhoods in Carlsbad and down in Solana Beach and stuff. But just because the trailhead is right at the end of a residential area doesn't mean it's not going to be beautiful. There's ones, like I said, right in Solana Beach where you walk out of the residential neighborhood and then you're in Sand Alejo Lagoon. Just beautiful views out there. Calavera Hills, up in Carlsbad, a lot out here in Olivenhain. So a lot of that going on. Just because, like I said, just because it starts in a neighborhood doesn't mean it's going to be bad.
So you're probably seeing a lot of city names and street names that don't really make sense or you don't know how to pronounce. We're going to get into a few of the common ones that get mispronounced and let you know how to say them.
So I've seen people work with people and they're looking a little bit further to the east in a little city that we call Poway. I've heard Poway, so it is Poway. So if you're looking there, you give us a call, say, hey, I like Poway.
And then a little bit to the west of that is La Jolla, but it's not La Jolla, it's La Jolla, is one of the communities right there on the ocean.
And then one of the main streets in Del Mar as you're getting off the freeway is Via de la
Valle.
So Via de la Valle is one of the main drags, goes to the racetrack and then goes inland towards Rancho Santa Fe. And then right on the coast here, you got Encinitas. That's not too difficult. Most people get that one right. A little bit further down the 56, you have Rancho Penasquitos. Right here in Encinitas as well. You got Lucadia. What else do we have in Encinitas?
Olivenhain? That one we still don't know.
Yeah, we're working on that one. We'll get back to you.
So those were some fun tips, some things that we've learned kind of growing up here in San Diego. Just some things you might not know if you're coming from across the country or even from the northern part of California. And one thing that we missed that is a huge one, we don't have bugs, or at least biting bugs very often. It's not like most places where in the summer you get bugs the size of birds. Here we don't have that. So we definitely, if there's other things you're curious about, we get deep into specific communities in a lot of our other videos. So definitely check those out. So if there's anything else that we haven't said or mentioned that you have questions about, definitely drop a comment below. We'll definitely get back to you. And if there's something you want to ask, just feel free to reach out. We're here if you have questions about the area.
And if you do want to reach out, be sure to call, text, email, whatever's easiest for you. We're getting reach outs every single day about people looking to move out here to North County, San Diego, Carlsbad, Vista, Encinitas, Oceanside, San Marcos. We cover it all and we'll get you dialed in. We'll hop on a Zoom call and really zone in what areas are going to work for you, answer all your questions, and get you super comfortable so you're ready to move out here to North County, San Diego.